26 fans, because the 26 guys in that clubhouse are also rooting for their guys. I think the momentum changer for the Phillies is as crucial as it gets and as important as it gets. I'm looking for them to get ahead. Whoever gets ahead in the first 3 innings, pretty much the game might be over.
I agree with you about momentum, and I was part of a team that actually built momentum on one play. Dave Roberts just steal second, and that was it. We were able to overcome an 0-3 deficit. I think the Houston Astros are still in good position to win this ball game, and if they do, well, we can see a momentum shift.
Yeah.
But once again, 2 good teams going at it. I expect them to play well, and let's see who does what they need to do, especially early.
Yeah, I agree.
First to 4.
First
if
to 4,
Javier
baby.
comes out here and he shoves tonight, and then tomorrow they have Justin Verlander, and all of a sudden we're talking about a different type of series. Again, it's game by game, and I love the analysis with each game. Right now, it's the Phillies' house, and they're rocking. They're getting set here for Game 4. It's his birthday, and all he
That's
wants...
not the fanatic now.
Yeah, no, that's all he wants is a W.
Might be his daughter.
We'll take that. Well, more W's on the way on MLB Tonight. We're going to check in with Sierra Santos and Harold Reynolds, and we'll be back to wrap up MLB Tonight coming up later. Enjoy.
Welcome back to MLB Tonight, presented by Evan Williams Bourbon. The Phillies fresh off the heels of a 7-0 victory in Game 3, the second largest World Series win in franchise history. It's time for the World Series report presented by Capital One, and for that, I'm joined by Harold Reynolds. I'm Sierra Santos. And Harold, as I was walking around this concourse with our analyst, Cameron Maben, we were yelling at each other before the game because we couldn't even hear ourselves talking to each other as we were side by side. How much did the atmosphere play a factor in Game 3?
Oh, it was huge. It's exciting in here. It's electric. And we got the Fox people right down here. Everybody's going nuts. But no, I thought like yesterday, the play that Altuve hits the ball, it got the crowd immediately in it. The great diving catch by Castellanos in right field. And to me, that's like when somebody breaks the opening kickoff in a bowl game, right? All of a sudden, the crowd is into it, and they own it. This is a huge play. I know Yonder said, hey, the game is over. In a sense, it was, because this crowd had been waiting so many years, so much time through a rain delay, and they let all their emotions go. And after that, they brought the roof down, if there was one. There used to be a roof here, you know that? Because they were yelling so loud, it tore it down.
They blew the roof off.
It blew the roof off.
They blew the roof right off this thing. So the home field advantage is truly a factor here at Citizens Bank Park, and you see that when you look at the record for the Phillies in the postseason.
Well, you're as good as your day pitcher, I think. I mean, look, they've hit the ball great. Yesterday, Lance McCullers didn't have good stuff. I know everybody's talked all day about him tipping pitches, but when you throw 80, I don't think so. I think when you're throwing 80% changeups and fast and regular balls, what's there to tip? Guys tip their pitches all the time. It's just a matter of if he has good stuff or not. He didn't have good stuff last night, so I think that was the big problem. But on the other side, they didn't pitch tonight. You have Christian Javier going, so I think it'll be different. But I think the game's all predicated on how good the pitching is. That puts a crowd in it, or it takes a crowd out of it.
Well, Rob Thompson talked about it earlier today, and he said that one thing that they were able to do is preserve their bullpen. And you take a look at these stats right here, Harold, and they've been outstanding.
Well, it's important. You know, we go back to Game 1, right? He emptied his pen. He went for that win the whole way. The question was, were they going to get length the rest of the way to allow them to rest? And the rain out was significant because it set their rotation back in order. In other words, you would have had Noah Syndergaard going, which they would have probably had to have a bullpen game. But instead, you got Ranger Suarez, and now they're back where they want to be. Go ahead.
Phillies bullpen, 12 2/3 innings, 7 hits, no runs through 3 games in the World Series, and they've been able to handle that pressure with no issue.
Well, you know, the beauty of the bullpen, I got to tell you about Alvarado, right? So I'm sitting there, and I get a tip that he used to throw at iguanas. That's how he got his fastball, 100 miles an hour. He grows up from an impoverished family, and so instead of having all the tools to shoot things down, they threw rocks. So I said, all right, let me go to the outfield. So I go out there, I hang out with him, and by now all the other Latin players are gathering around because I need a translator. So I start telling the story. They're translating it to him. He's like, yeah, we used to throw rocks up in the tree, hit the coconut, and then we'd go after the iguanas and knock them down. I said, but here's where it really gets interesting. I said, I heard you learned your cutter because the iguana goes like this and turns, so you were throwing it so the rock would cut and hit them. And I mean, they all fell out on the floor and died laughing. But that's the beauty of the World Series. You hear all this folklore and you got to seek it out.
So the coconuts and lizards, that's the whole gist of the story.
Well, you cook the iguanas in coconut. And he went into this whole thing, how it's a cuisine with his family, that they use all the different spices and everything else. It tastes like chicken.
Cook the iguanas in coconuts. This is the first time I'm here.
On national TV. Funny story, right? The moral of the story is, at the World Series, you're hearing so many things about guys. And the fun part is being able to be down on the field and talk to them about it and vet things out. And I'm telling you, I had them all crying, laughing in right field.
So who is having a better time right now, Harold?
Well, clearly the Phillies are having a better time right now.
Their fans are having a good time as well. These light poles out here in Philadelphia all greased up because they're expecting mayhem if there is another win and they're able to take this 3-1 series lead. We are back with more after this. Evan Williams, Bourbon. It's time for the World Series report. Actually, the playoff pitch presented by BetMGM with senior betting analyst Ariel Epstein.
Welcome to Playoff Payoff presented by BetMGM. Tonight is Game 4 of the World Series with the Phillies up 2-1 over the Astros. I like the Astros to win this game outright and betting them on the money line at -105. Astros starter Christian Javier has been so good, allowing just 1 run since the start of September. That was off of a home run. Now the Astros can get Javier going 5 to 6 innings in addition to a rested bullpen. Yesterday, the Astros only used 1 true reliever, and that was Ryan Stanek. The closer was a starting pitcher in Jose Urquidy. They have enough bullpen arms to go tonight. Houston's had the best bullpen ERA in the postseason and throughout most of the regular season. I like the Astros on the money line. Now, when it comes to Javier, I also like his over 5.5 strikeouts. He's had at least 6 strikeouts in his last 5 road games against teams with a high K rate against righties. The Phillies have a top 10 K rate all season against right-handers. Javier over 5.5 strikeouts tonight. Now let's toss things over to Matt Stryker and Keith Arizari for more.
Thanks a lot, Ariel. A lot of plays that we'll have on Better's Eye tonight. I'm going to go first with Brandon Marsh to get a singular hit this evening. Even money, has 4 career hits against Javier, the only Philly with a background against him. And if you take away the NLCS, he has at least 1 hit in 5 of 8 playoff games this year.
I'm going with Bryce Harper. It's shocking, I know. Since Game 3, 4 out of every 10 bets have come in on Bryce to be the MVP. Even more telling, 76% of all the money coming in are on Bryce Harper to be MVP. It's taking his odds from 7-1 down to 2-1. With regards to tonight, over 1.5 total bases plus money. Look, hitters sit fastball and make adjustments. That's fine because Javier throws his fastball over half of the time.
You can catch Better's Eye tonight and tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on MLB.com and on MLB.tv.
Series lead in the World Series. 41 went on to win the title, and the Phillies will look to do exactly that with Aaron Nola on the mound. Coming up after the break, Harold is going to break down what he needs to do to get the dub.
Would you please stand and remove your hats? Recording artist and singer-songwriter national anthem.
You see, only we have gleaming who pass through the past or the ramparts so gallantly. It's that our flag, oh, banner, and of the home of.
What a night! Perfect. Philadelphia Astros and Phillies when we come back.